So, welcome Trisha, welcome again. We are meeting around module 6 today. So, the theme is chaos and order, and the coherence is this holy order. And it's like the structure of repatterning, the remembrance of that. So, welcome, and let's just start by dropping down in our breath. And take 3 to 5 cycles of this 5-7-8 breath pattern. And this is inhaling to a count of 4, holding to a count of 7, releasing or exhaling to a count of 8. So just do your best, but this pattern is really good for calming the nervous system now. So let's drop down into a breath for a while. And if you feel so, place your hands on your heart. Yes, welcome Trisha once more. And as usual, we are going to start with a little bit of reading, talking, and reflecting. So, first part is the intelligence of the chaos. And we're going to look at angles of chaos from neuroplastic science, fractal systems, and the science of falling apart, like this chaotic state. So, in nature, chaos is not the opposite of order. And chaos is giving birth to order. And it precedes order in that way. So before every new structure is born, something has to break. So for an example, we can say that our thoughts can fracture at times. Our plans can dissolve. And then our nervous system begins to panic. And our energy field is being disoriented. And we can see beneath the surface of that chaotic state, it's this intelligence which is moving as well. So let's speak a little bit about the chaos theory and the fractal truth. So in nature, chaos appears like this wild energy, but it follows like these hidden patterns as well. So this is at the heart of the chaos theory. The fractals, these self-repeating geometries, which we can see in nature, like in trees, in when lightning strikes, we can see them in waves, and we can even see them in our heartbeat. So, for an example, a healthy heart is kind of not this perfectly regular organ. It pulses with this unpredictability. So it's kind of this beautiful unpredictability as well. So that's how our life is as well, from this outer view. Even though it may look disordered, but from this deeper plane, our life can be reorganizing in these chaotic patterns when they strike our life at times. So the fractal wisdom of this, we can say it in like a funny way. The mess that we are in when we are in chaotic times, it kind of looks like this zoomed in section of our own emotional patterns. So our brain is in that way, in that notion and in that perspective, like this patterning machine, and it prefers repetition. even if the routine is toxic, our brain prefers repetition. So when life kind of breaks our rhythm and introduces us to these chaotic times, chaos in our lives, we can say that through grief or change, betrayal, illness, like we enter this neuroplastic zone of our mind. And then we can say that these old patterns, they can weaken and new patterns can form. But the key here is really staying conscious about this process. So there's this guy called Dr. Michael Merzenich, and his research is showing that disruption of these thoughts or disruption in chaotic times, it kind of activates this dormant neural networking. And this is in a way our brain saying that we are ready to evolve, we are ready to rewire. So provided we meet this moment with awareness, we can really enter this neuroplastic zone where our mind is really prone and ready to evolve, to rewire itself. So let's look at mythic laws, specifically one of the Hermetic laws, rhythm and cause and effect. So this law says, everything flows out and in. Everything has its tides, and all things rise and fall. So the law of rhythm is teaching us that nothing is truly static. Chaos and order are kind of these dance partners. We can see that, for example, in the patterns of our inhalations, exhalations, in the rise and the fall of the energies. We can see that in the seasons, like the change between spring or winter. So all these systems, internal and external, they kind of follow this wave. So let's connect this to another Hermetic teaching. The law of cause and effect is teaching us that nothing is random, and every collapse is kind of containing this hidden intelligence. And every breakdown then it becomes kind of like this response to a previous imbalance. So the energy always has a reason to evolve. And even so, if our egos, if our minds cannot see the pattern of the energetic evolvement yet, energy always has a reason. So what looks like dysfunction, one level for us, it often becomes this recalibration, healing, repairment on another. So the nervous system's reaction to chaos, we're going to talk about now. This is interesting. So the human nervous system is always equating unpredictability with danger. So early life instability, emotionally unavailable partners, trauma, unmet needs, it kind of trains the body to the grip for control. And when chaotic times comes, when chaos comes, we may experience the function from the amygdala, from the ancient brain again, and we may freeze or flee or even spiral in circles from confusion. So, but there are remedies to this, of course, and just by conscious breath, movement, and practicing presence can kind of retrain our nervous system to tolerate uncertainty. And this, this is where resilience is living. This is really a home ground of resilience. And what is resilience then in connection to the chaos? Its capacity to hold what we cannot yet understand. So this is this factor of uncertainty, where we need to let go and where we simply need to adjust to this chaotic state that we are entering, provided it's happening. So then we can speak a little bit about this wisdom of the body. How body is interpreting safety as a presence within our breath, when chaotic times are there. And we can also even remind ourselves that, well, when chaos arrives, just staying focused on our breath, consciously breathing, this really calms the nervous system down and gains us and allows us to gain the ground where we can consciously decide what is our next action and observe actually this chaotic state and the evolution of ourselves within the chaos. So, from the shamanic view, we can call this chaos the initiatory storm. So, in the Andean tradition, chaos is like this fire before renewal. And we know this because we can remind ourselves how the serpent sheds its skin, because this is suffocating in a way. Old layers are suffocating new layers. So releasing creates place for something new, fresh, new energy to evolve. So the jaguar teaches us that when we enter this jungle of fear as humans, we are also entering it to reclaim our power in a way. So we can say that the shaman is willingly walking into this disintegration of ourselves. And the shaman is listening to this intelligence of the field, and as this chaos breaks into bloom. So we can also say that chaos is in a way sacred because it's so precise. There are patterns within the chaos. The chaos actually knows what to remove and what to preserve. And it kind of burns only what is false, what is not anymore aligned for our evolution. So I want to kind of serve us a couple of reflective questions, which we can use just to kind of to assess for ourselves whenever we come to a chaotic situation or chaotic energy. So the first question is, where in your life has chaos already led to unexpected evolution? And this is good to know because chaos is obviously a pattern that repeats throughout our lives. And it's very evolutionary important as well. So by studying our patterns and remembering and re-remembering our chaotic times, we can kind of help ourselves when the new chaos arrives and arises, and it can kind of make this perspective of uncertainty feel more at home and feel more safe. So, second question, reflective question we can ask ourselves. What familiar pattern, even if it's toxic, are we still trying to keep alive within the chaos? What needs to be released? This is what we can ask ourselves. Even so, if it's toxic, because sometimes the clearing is also happening on the untoxic energies, which simply need to evolve, to grow from something, to become bigger. And the third question, what if the breakdown is the intelligence of our system creating space for more elegant rhythm? So here we come again and touch the hermetic laws. And we're going to, before we speak a bit more about these hermetic laws, we're going to touch 3 or 4 more today. We're going to touch this topic of energetic repatterning. So our aura, which we also call the luminous energy field, is this electromagnetic biofield which constantly is in feedback with our inner state and also with the quantum field as well. So energetic repatterning, we can touch this hermetic law which says as within so without, and this is this reflectiveness of our luminous energy field or our aura, which we can understand like a memory field, like this transmitter, a protector, a teacher. So this field is alive actually. So modern science may call this field the biofield. And this is kind of this dynamic electromagnetic field generated by our nervous system, the heart and the brain. So ancient mystics and shamans and hermetic initiates, they have always known that we are surrounded by light that remembers. So everything that we have felt, feared, forgiven, or even forgotten, all of it is contained and memorized in our luminous energy field. So we can say that this light is very intelligent. It responds, it reforms, and it restructures itself also. So based on our internal world, our thoughts, our emotions, even the way we breathe, our trauma, of course, nevertheless, our joy. So the aura in motion is what happens during chaos. And that means that this luminous energy field is restructuring itself. So when outer world collapses, something like a relationship or a dream that we had, or even the sense of our identity, our luminous field is never going to panic like our nervous system. It kind of discharges this density and reorganizes itself. On the physical level, we can feel this, the reorganization of our luminous energy field. We can feel it as emotional purging, like grief or rage or confusion. So we can even get physical detox symptoms if this chaos and the purge and the clean detoxification, a birth into something new, is really a high energy. So this can even provoke physical detox symptoms. Interesting. So of course, insomnia or lucid dreaming are very, very kind of connected to this area of the chaotic change. We can also have sudden surges of intuition or deja vu. So why is this happening? Because our field is clearing this old signal before the chaos. So we can begin to receive and transmit this higher signal in a way like an update to our signal in connection to the quantum field and how we communicate with the field. So we can say that as shamans, when we see someone in collapse, we shouldn't rush to fix them. We should kind of observe this reconfiguration. So, and also we should listen. What is trying to emerge beneath this chaos, beneath this fall, or beneath the rebirth, so to say? So observation is key from the shamanic standpoint. And then simply allowing ourselves, our natural processes to come through this chaos as an energetic action, which is leading us to our evolution. So, and let's touch the Hermetic laws again a little. So, the Emerald Tablet is saying that which is above is like that which is below. And this is as above, so below. This is the original text from the Emerald Tablets. So this touches also this law of rhythm together with the as above, so below. So it says that everything rises and falls. Even the cosmos is pulsing in these patterns. It's like the cosmos is breathing in and out, And it feels like this wave, like a collapse, like rebuilding something, And this is what we also feel in our energy fields when we are going through chaos. So we can say that when we are experiencing some kind of breakdowns, this is not the end. It's kind of like this inhale before the next form of exhale, a spiritual rebirth, we can say even. So this is why spiritual initiates, they have always trained to kind of ride this uncertainty momentum with breath and with presence and with trust. And then let's touch the Hermetic law of cause and effect. So nothing happens without precedent. And every energetic collapse in our life is the result of outdated internal structures, beliefs, fears, contracts, even shame programs from our childhood. So, what appears to be chaos is actually causality, a kind of rebalancing. And in an abstract way, we can say that this is the karma of thought, the karma of the thought processes. So, if we engage this process consciously, then that same collapse becomes the cause of a more coherent, structured you. So, from a psychological stance, there's this perspective of the fracture which invites wholeness. So, in the language of the luminous energy field or our aura, so every unresolved emotional imprint is becoming this distortion in the biofield. So these distortions, they send out these unconscious signals. And then we begin attracting relationships, situations, and even health issues that are reflecting our inner shadows. So that's why, for example, the people who feel abandoned keep drawing in lovers who disappear. Or that's why unprocessed rage becomes this inflammation in our body often. That's why self-doubt becomes this chronic energetic leakage from our field. So when life begins to restructure, when things begin to fall apart, the truth is that we are being shown what is ready to be healed. And all of this is beginning in our understanding of energy. So, let's look at the concept from neuroscience, how the brain mirrors the field. So this guy, Joe Dispenza, and some other scientists in the field of neuroplasticity, they have shown that the brain is pattern-based. It really runs of repetition and emotional intensity. So this is what our aura and the luminous energy field is doing as well. So it kind of amplifies and solidifies our most repeated frequencies. So if we carry a consistent pattern of fear, unworthiness, resentment, our aura kind of becomes the magnet to match more of these experiences. And that it will always affirm these emotional states that we carry. So it's like a mirror. We can say that our aura will also mirror our internal state and attract actually something that is suitable for those emotional tones. So as we begin to restructure, for example, we can use meditation, breath work, whatever kind of therapy, energy healing, well, even deep heartbreaks, they can train the brain to enter this plastic state, the plastic zone. And then our aura begins kind of to update very quickly. So what used to be in a way magnetic to pain, by this restructuring becomes magnetic to truth. What used to attract chaos now attracts clarity. And this field of ours, the luminous energy field, is intelligent and it's learning constantly. So let's connect this rebirth through chaos and uncertainty to the myth of the phoenix. And I'm sure that you heard about the phoenix. Who haven't heard about the phoenix? So, this archetype of the phoenix is actually can be seen as a story of energetic repatterning, of rebirth, as they say in the myth. So it reminds us actually that death, symbolic or literal, is a transmutation. And when we're talking about the spiritual rebirth, well, this is encoded into our spiritual DNA. And this actually reminds us who we really are, who we truly are, when it surfaces in our transformation. So Kero shamans, they have this same myth, and they tell it through the condor, the similarity of the myth of the phoenix. And they say that the condor is flying above the chaos of the world, surrendering to these turmoils, in the air. So we can say that the fire of transformation is kind of holy and sacred. And only the field that has been emptied of all its false programmings can truly arise, and can truly be reborn in its full beauty and its full potential. So we can say that our auric field, or luminous energy field, is a part of our conscious evolution. And We can even look at our luminous energy field as a blueprint of our becoming. So we can say that every time that we forgive, our field kind of expands, reinforces. Every time we self-regulate instead of project, well, our field is strengthening that. So every time we honor our truth instead of betraying our needs, our field stabilizes into coherence. And this is the invisible law of form. So this leads us to say that spirituality is not about floating above reality. It can literally be described as rewiring the unseen structure of reality from the inside out. So we become, in that process, both electromagnetically aligned, and we can even say / enlightened, and also aligned with our next highest self, with this rebirth. So let's have an insight from the field. When the old pattern can no longer serve, kind of automatically begins to collapse. And from shamanic perspective, we actually call this a moment of power transformation. So we can say about this process of the chaos that sometimes things can feel like everything is disassembling, and our field can interpret this by practice as a good thing for our evolution. Because meaning when our field is active, that means that our soul is evolving as well. It's kind of moving, learning, adapting, evolving. So we have to kind of like breathe into this uncertainty and breakdown and let the old identity drain. Kind of allow this frequency shift to happen. So sometimes this process can feel that as we are falling apart, but actually this is falling into coherence, into really a stable, energetic state. So we are going to have a few reflective questions, and if you're willing, Trisha, well, you can interact with me and answer maybe on a few. So the first question is here: how does your body respond to chaos, and how could that response then be reframed as intelligence?
At times it can feel like anxiety or stress.
Thank
But
you.
if if I can calm myself down and control that, I can begin to see where it's not the end of the world and everything isn't falling all down on me. And I can start to breathe and find the lesson in why it's happening and what I need to learn from it. And because nothing,
Beautiful,
because
beautiful.
everything happens for a reason. Everything.
Absolutely. And this is observation. The way that you describe this, well, this is really like you can reframe your response as this intelligence because you're able to observe. So this is very beautiful. Thank you for sharing. So that's the way forth, observing ourselves and then integrating all these changes that are to occur. So, one more question. So, can you allow your energy body to evolve without rushing to fix the symptoms?
I can now. It's it's a battle. Um, I'm an Aries. Aries everything. I'm very impatient person. Um, and I've always wanted everything yesterday. But I'm working on myself a lot and trying to understand that you can't rush perfection, that you can't rush anything, that you just have to allow. And because when you try to rush at things, you just cause more problems. You cause more anxiety, you cause more stress. Plus, you also miss the point of the lesson, and you can miss steps which cause more problems along the way. Whereas if you just stop and observe and then go with the flow, it seems to work out better. And I try to tell people, because this is what I've been learning over the past 5, 6 years, is that the universe wants great things for you, and there's a plan for you, and you're supposed to get to a certain point. You have the choice to either flow with the universe and get there directly, or you can go 50 miles out of your way, all through all the bends and twisty turns, but you're still going to get there. You're just going to get taught a lot of lessons along the way, and you're always going to get redirected back anyways. So why take?
Absolutely. Absolutely, Trisha. This is the factor of acceptance of this uncertainty, which we mentioned before, kind of just surrendering, letting go, and allowing whatever changes to happen naturally, and to trust this process. So you can say three keywords here are surrender, trust the uncertainty, and let go, and trust that everything will work out fine. So this is very
Don't, and don't beat yourself up when you backslide.
no,
It's not a failure, it's just falling back to your programming, and you have to take it
absolutely,
and
absolutely,
say, okay, I stepped back, and now we just need to move forward again.
absolutely. And we can say that in a way that our field can be reorganizing itself to match this new destiny of ours, and kind of become conscious together with our minds, because as the auric field is conscious and intelligent, when it rearranges, then in this process, it's kind of working for itself, and then it needs to connect again to our mind to kind of become conscious together with our minds. And we can practice this as well. But thank you, for sharing, for being open-hearted and sharing. Thank you, Trisha. So we are at the last part of our session now, and we're going to have a short guided meditation, and we're going to call upon these codes of surrender so that we can have them installed in our luminous energy field. So the meaning is behind the surrender. When we stop fighting this mess or chaos that life can lead us into from time to time, we should allow our systems to realign themselves. So let's drop down into our breath for a while. Just a few minutes in silence. allowing our bodies to soften. And let's feel this spaciousness of our luminous energy field widen, expand. Now let's communicate to the field of infinite possibilities. I surrender my need to control. I align with the deeper intelligence of my becoming. So now let's imagine our body as a star-forming nebula. Chaos and dust and memory and light all swirling together. And let's allow each breath that we inhale birth a new fractal. And let's allow that order to emerge from within. Now let's declare to ourselves, I allow, I trust, and I realign. So now let's integrate these energies for a few minutes in silence. Feeling the space around our hearts and sensing the rhythm beneath the mess. Allowing all these energies to settle, integrate, feeling this energy and allowing it to guide us into a new shape. So Trisha, on your own time, you're welcome to open your eyes whenever you feel ready. And as this final reflective question, I want to leave both of us with. What is one area in my life I will now allow to reorganize rather than control? So what is one area of our life, of my life, that I will allow to reorganize rather than control. So before we finish off, firstly, thank you for being here, for being actively engaged in reflections. The next module is walking the middle way. And this module is talking about the awakened human and how this awakened human is not picking sides. They are becoming the bridge. So we're going to explore this concept and the power of neutrality as this multi-dimensional presence. So thank you for being here once more, and welcome to join in tomorrow if you're free. And thank you for being here. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much.